Semi-final number 2! Tomb of the Spider Queen is our starting map in the best of 3 series. We're still in the first qualifier for the Masters Clash. Now again, the main event takes place in Paris, in France, and there's 12,000 euros on the line. Now we got the Hardos going up against Team in the semi-final. And that is mainly, and normally you would expect those two teams to go up against each other in the grand final, right? But in this case, the reason why they're meeting in the semi-final already is that the Hardos won Group 1, but Team only came second place in Group 2. They lost the first spot to Team Rage Quit, which is kind of wild. So now this gives us a pairing for this best of 3 that many expected to be part of the grand final, if nothing else. But let's see if the Hardos can pull through here. Will be kind of interesting, would be a bit wild, so yeah, I'm curious for this one. And I'm a little bit sad that we didn't really see the second group. I don't know if the red team just, you know, was trolling around a little bit and didn't really... Yeah, I talked about it in Group 1. I talked about how a best of 2 always demands from you that you're not trolling around, that you are really just focusing on every single map, because every single map matters and a single mistake can cost you one map and therefore the chance to take that number 1 position in the group itself. And that might be exactly what happened to Team... They're kind of famous for just going all out on map number 1, and then on the second map they think they can get away with some weirdo draft or just not taking it too serious. And in the best of 3, that's most of the time not a big problem, because if you lose the map, you still have the third map to clinch out a victory. But if you're just playing some kind of like round-robin best of 2 system, that's not the case. So, yeah. We got, for the Hardos, on the left side, the final ban coming in. So Lunara is banned, and so is Leo here on Tomb. It's interesting ban pattern, since there's a lot still up here. I mean, you still have Lucio up, you still have Blaze up, just to name 2 of them. And that's kind of crazy. Genji gets banned in this case now too. So we have a lot of heroes that you would usually see in the first ban pattern available for the teams. Now, they know each other really well, of course. So with that in mind, you know what your opponent prefers on a certain map. But now we have still so many top picks for them. Tracer is up, Maiev is up, you can still go into a Lucio pick, you have Blaze for the Quasar as usual. So yeah, the world's your oyster at this point. I mean, whatever you want to pick, go for it. And how are Benny and the boys leaving this up? Are we going to get a Johanna, for example? The extra wave clear is still important for Tomb of the Spider Queen. She has fallen off in priority, but there are still certain maps where she adds a lot, and Infernal plus Tomb are definitely 2 of those. But when you're talking about main tank, you could also go into a Diablo here. We could still see them play around with a Nubarak, for example. There's a lot of options. There's a Lucio that I highlighted a second ago. And instead of a main tank, we get Urel. So they go for the main tank here. Okay, now with that, what are we grabbing for? I mean, Ultralisk and Nick are most likely going to be the ones that pick last for the team, just simply, you know, because they are always this X factor. Could be a battle for Maiev, maybe even Kerrigan. Junkrat for Dino and Rhaegar for Banana Age. Even as we're heading into the third ban, we don't have anybody else going into a main tank, and now we could see a main tank being addressed. But I like it that it's a bit of a shift from the usual pattern here, so that's pretty cool. Sylvanas, yeah. Dino already has this Junkrat, but apparently the Hardos don't even think about picking Sylvanas here. So what are they gonna do? What is Hazu gonna pick here? He's normally the one that we are expecting the range damage from right now. Vala is, by the way, still up, so if anybody still wants to go into some kind of double support Vala or even a solo support Vala, they could still do that. And let's not forget that you actually have Rutsu on the side of the blue team. I mean, he's playing in the Masters Clash for the Hardos. There was a bit of confusion on day number 1. Tracer is banned. But there could be some sneaky moves where they're shifting some of the roles around just slightly. So yeah, here comes the double pick. And I'm really curious. That's going to tell us a lot. You could go a Nubarak with Urel, but Urel combos pretty much well with most. I'm curious what Benny is going to pick, as I said earlier. What's the main tank? Jojo, Diablo. Diablo it is. And we get Hanzo. Hanzo's in, we got Diablo. Every single time I see those two together, by the way, part of me really wants to see something along the lines of a Dragon's Arrow into an Apocalypse. It's a cool combo when it lands, but the problem is the risk and the coordination is just a little bit too much to ask for, and the risk-reward calculation just doesn't pan out. So, as cool as it looks, the impact is most of the time not as significant, and that makes it a little bit of a, like, yeah, second-rate wombo. But here comes Imperius, okay, for Ultralisk, Wild, and Garrosh for Masquerade. So there's again a lot of CC that they have here, with Junkrat also getting the mine, with Imperius coming in, getting the stun, potential delivery system, Blaze following it up in a 2, a bit of control from Rhaegar. The last pick for Nick, so what are they gonna throw out now on 2? First map, again. It's Chromie! The Chromester is here. The fake dragon is in the house. Tomb of the Spider Queen, everybody. First map in the semi-final here. First qualifier of the Masters Clash between Team Wah and the Hardos. First game between the two teams, and we're starting things with Chromie, played by Hardos. So, Bad Benny, he's playing Diablo. We got Nick on Hanzo, Copenhagen on Urel, and Rutsu on Lucio. On the right side of the map, Team Wah, with Dino playing Junkrat, Banana H on Rhaegar. You got Masquerade on Garrosh, Dequaza on Blaze, and Ultralisk is playing Imperius. Okay, time to shine and see which team is able to solidify victory in game number 1. It's the map choice of the Hardos, as pointed out a bit earlier. So, yep, there it is. So, off we go. We currently got on level 1 our Soul Shield. So, there we have it. And the Time Walker's Pursuit is there as well for the extra vision. Obviously, Chromie and Hanzo are fantastic when you're interrupting any channel attempt on the other side. Look at Copenhagen. He got bunnied around pretty hard here, and that's the first kill in the game. That is actually great what they just did there. So they just flipped the target with Masquerade's Garrosh straight into a mine of Junkrat, or vice versa, and therefore just bunny hop the target into the towers and therefore secured death. So that's exactly how I need to do that. If you can combo it off this perfectly, then anybody that just gets close enough to one of the two is in immediate danger. And that was nicely done, really well done. So we currently have the first kill for the red team. They also have a bit better position on the map, at least for a couple of seconds, as you could see on the minimap. They're also making the first move for the Bruiser camp, as you can see. So yeah, coming in here pretty quickly. And the same is happening on the left side now, as we got the Hardos also with an attempt to make the same play here. A little bit of a different timing for them, but the same idea behind it. And for Chromie, we get the time trouble. And at the bottom of the map, Dino is already working on those Siege Giants, but he should be sniffed out pretty soon. I mean, normally you will have the blue team just taking a dip down to the bot lane and double check what's going on there. Unless they're willing to let it completely slide. It seems like that's the case. They don't even go down to the bottom of the map. They don't want to fight there. They move top side with Benny and with Hazu, just taking control over the top lane. Chromie, close. Very close. That could have hit. So, yeah. Able to get out of the range of Garrosh, but that could have become a bit of a problem. So yeah, well done. But yeah, either way, we got in the middle of the map now. Our battle between those camps, and both of them still have the aura in play too. Indomitable is in. We get in addition to that, the Incinerator Gauntlets, level 4 also gets picked up by the Hardos. And with Chromie, they're just firing from range. But Benny, yep, he gets stunned. The amount of CC that we have for Team Wah is a bit crazy. Yeah, the amount of CC is pretty solid. Team Wah is coming in with the CC on Imperius, with the jet propulsion. They have so much they can add here in these fights. It's a bit nuts. So the Hardos have to be very, very careful. And I guess it also forces the hand of Lucio coming into level 10. That's at least what we should see here. Turn-ins are already slowly happening, and even the interrupt attempts from Hanzo are not working out for them, so they are looking at quite a few gems that have been turned in by the opponent. Good vision play again by Hazu, paying attention here to the pain points, the problems, and the bushes that could really end their life if they just simply venture into them without checking. But the kill count is in favor of Team Wah, and they have the edge. They have half a level lead, they've turned in a few gems. delivering more with Ultralis, getting rid of his 12. And they're getting closer and closer to the first turn-in, so they gotta be very careful here. Stequaza is also attempting to lock in 17 gems at the bot lane, and that would nearly get them to the first turn-in opportunity. Benny is getting attacked once more, and he's dead. Yeah. Not even, I mean, Ultralis in this case didn't even need the stun, honestly. Some body blocking would have probably been enough. But there it is, kill number 2 against Diablo, so he already gets bullied. And there's still not a single gem turned in for the Hardos. Things are not looking too good for them early on here. Rutsu is making it out, but he's down to 15% of its HP, so that's kind of rough. And I don't know. Another turn in, trying to go for the first Web Weaver. Level 7 talents, another combo, and Banana H finishes the job. First Web Weavers coming down now for the red team. Yeah, they're looking good here. So they have already done damage at the bottom of the map, as you can see. Gate is down, one of the towers is down. They should be able to follow up on that with the Web Weavers. And now the opportunity to maybe even take... I mean, maybe even afford. They have damage on all those lanes. So can they do a little bit more with this than you would initially expect and hope for? There's definitely a chance and an opportunity. 3 kills to 0 also tell the tale of how those team fights went until now. Level 10 abilities will change the dynamic, but from the looks of it, Team Wa might even walk away with a big advantage around heroics and use that time window to push some structures down even further. Bot lane, Blaze versus Urel up at the top. It's a 3-man defense right now, but they are paying attention. And the lead is being extended. Just look at them. They're zoning them away from the fort, and that is one of the structures gone with the first Web Weaver wave. So big win for Team Wa already. And in addition to that, the bot lane is also suffering. So not only did the top fort fall, but down here at the bottom of the map, they're getting more damage in. Now the fort is not going to get destroyed, but it is still severely chunked down. That was a big W for Team Wa. For sure. So, right now, we currently have Dequaza still controlling the lane. They're making another play right here for the Siege Giants. And they have their own Bruiser camp at the same time. And as you can tell from the experience lead, they will now grab their level 10 and can then possibly push in with one of those 2 camps and get a fort either destroyed or at least taken halfway apart. And from the looks of it, now that they got their heroics, it's going to be the bot lane that's going to suffer. Maybe even the mid lane too, since they are splitting once more. But yeah, how do you deal with that? Good luck. That bot lane fort is gone. You're not going to save that. That's just not going to be a thing. The Siege Giants alone are solidifying that. Now in the middle, they're making another move. Warlords challenge. That one's in. Masquerade not able to get anything done here just yet, but just the threat of him sitting at the front is already more than enough. So level 10 closing in for the Hardos. They need it. They have Urel at the top lane to deliver the extra XP, but they're still losing some hit points. We got the Meme Strike. Meme Strike is in for Hardos. I mean, keep in mind, just recently in the X-Cup playoffs, we had this insane combo between Hardos with his Meme Strike on this particular map and Yasuo with Deck Arcade. It was one of the best combos that I've seen with this in a long time. But can they do the same thing here? I honestly doubt it a little bit. That looked like it was a once-in-a-lifetime play. But they have to pull something off that is at least similar to it. Because if they don't, then it will be a very stony path forward for them. They need to turn in, but we already have 44 gems delivered by Team Wa, and they only need another 11, which they have, to go for a second turn in a row. Now Blaze gets attacked, wants to go for Nick, it has to drop the bunker here, so they get some damage out, but yeah, it's not going to be enough just yet. But here comes the turn in. Dino is delivering the 5, that means they're missing 6, and could easily move towards the... Ultralis could actually deliver those in just a couple of seconds. The rest of the team is trying to make the same play happen down at the bottom of the map. Yeah. And someone needs to also interrupt Imperius. Copenhagen. 45 gems. They have 105 in total, and he's getting interrupted there. It's always dangerous when you hold this many gems. It's really tricky, because if you die, then you lose so much. It's not only you dying and your opponent running a numbers advantage game on you for some time, but losing the gems is, of course, even worse. And yeah, that's 48 gems for Copenhagen. 2 more and he can get a solo turn in. But for now, it is again the red team that is making the plays. Benny! They're controlling him once again. Here comes the lightning breath. Ultralisk! Too late! Finally a kill for the Hardos. That one was important, and Rega reacted too late here. Banana H tried, but not in time. Masquerade, he's also gonna fall. That's the double kill that they needed. The Hardos, they finally woke up. They looked like the softies in the early stage, but right now, after level 10, they go hard or go home, and in this case, they apparently didn't want to go home just yet. So they're picking up the pace. 2 kills to 3, easy defense now on this particular objective. They're not losing the fort in the middle, they're still keeping the top alive. They catch up in experience, and now on level 13. And maybe finally an opportunity to turn in, get an objective phase for themselves, and maybe another kill. They're already looking for their Quasar here. He doesn't have the bunker. Chromie with a bit more damage, but not enough just yet. Alright, turn-in time. Chance for a turn-in. They can make it happen. 19,000 damage for Hanzo. Chromie is sitting at 18k. 14,000 for Junkrat, but they still need to turn in. 130 gems by now. 130 gems. 56 for Copenhagen. 24 for Hazu. They have to. They honestly have to make a play here. Get that turn in. Get those web beavers. And yes, there it is. Copenhagen finally gets rid of those 50, and he's just like, poof, thank God. A little bit relief here. But let's see what they can do with this. It's a 10-minute push now with the web beavers. They're double checking for Masquerade. Ooh, can he actually get him? Nice attack. Barbecue play. And Masquerade is dead. Yeah, he goes down. That's a perfect timing for the kill. Just as the web weavers are coming down, Chromie gets the kill. That was pretty good. That was actually really good, because now that's the 20-second window where they don't have a tank that can help them. The problem is that with the camp that was taken by a team, just in time, that's a bit of a tricky spot to be in now as well, because that is delaying everything. So it's mainly the top lane that gets pressured, and the bot lane now that Urel has taken care of the minion wave. But Masquerade will be back in another 5 seconds, and they're just slowly edging their way over towards the structures. So, yep, there's that. But again, here come the hits. They at least take the wall down. Reptile clears the web weaver. What's happening at the bottom of the map? Well, that's where the Quasar is currently doing good work in defending as best he can. The rest of the red team is now moving back in. Benny flipped, but he's still alive. Rutsu zipped in. And there's the meme strike, zoning Masquerade away from the rest of the team, but the defense was still good. They gained a bit of space, they pushed them back, but the situation is still fairly the same. No forts taken down by the Hardos, whereas team eliminated too early on in the game. So we're waiting for level 16 talents. Chromie already has hers with a fast forward. Nobody has gone for the boss yet either. It's just, the gap is just simply not there. You don't have that big of a lead that you can do that. And as I say that, they're sneaking it in, or they're trying. That can't happen. I mean, that has to be scouted out. There's no way they're not picking up on that. Hazu is most likely going to use his level 1. There it is. They sniff it out. Yeah, that is just way too optimistic. A play like that against the Hardos, no way. Of course they're going to see that coming. When they see this many heroes missing on the minimap, they are double checking the boss, especially if you have Chromie. So I guess you can try if your team, better trying than not, but the second they know that they're scouted, they need to move away from it, and that's what they did. So, yeah. Now, with that said and done, blue team is getting the gems together for another set of web weavers, and they've managed to pull it off. So now level 16 is ready for both of them. And this is making things pretty interesting, because right now the Hardos, they gotta take some structures down. You can't take a second objective here and not take a single fort down. You have to make a play. Because they're still losing ground. But at least the bot lane has to fall. Junkrat is already on the way, and Urel is attempting to deal with this, but yeah, Rutsu is helping out. But already Ultralisk is holding lane as much as he can, but of course all three are now attacked. Mid lane, that's where Garrosh is trying to take care of it. Ultralisk, they try and flank him. Goes straight up for him. As again, the Dragon's Arrow not hitting too much. Barbecue, Reptile, no kills, except for Ultralisk, where the Ancestral is again just a tiny bit too late. And they take the fort at the bot lane. In the mid lane, this one is suffering too. So we are likely going to have 2 forts destroyed. Only the top lane could be defended. And they are still pushing, they're still pressuring. The Hardos, ladies and gentlemen, the early game looked a little bit tricky for them, but now they are in full flow. They've gained that momentum, and they are taking down the wall at the bot lane too, opening up opportunities to damage the keep itself, and maybe even get some catapult action going, some continuous catapult action. We have Chromie with 25,000 damage, Hans on 38, Junkrat on 26, and Team is now behind in experience, behind in kills, and starting to also fall behind in structures. Team Rat did not lock in top position in their group. And again, we haven't seen those games. There are too many games playing at the same time. We focus on Group 1, but it seems like there might be a chink in the armor. Maybe there's a few opportunities that the Hardos can exploit after all, drop them into the third place Deciders match, and move on to the grand final to face off against Team Rage Quit. So we'll see if they can pull that off. For now, Nick is turning in again, 37 gems, and they are going for another turn in. That's the third one for them in a row now. And if they are able to take a keep down with this, that would be fantastic. So they're going to try here. But that is pretty... This is a pretty promising situation for the blue team. Now the problem is that with Team whenever the opponent has a promising situation, it seems like they are just turning up the heat a little bit. All of a sudden, you have the hopes of the opponent falling apart. But if the Hardos can make a play here, this could be difficult to stop. So they're going into the mid lane. Again, it's the camp that has been taken and timed by the red team. But this time they're dropping it a little bit quicker, and that Web Weaver is going to have more of an impact. The Quals are still holding on to the top lane a bit, but eventually we will have to give that up to help with the defense on the keeps. So likely the fort is going to fall. But they're already going for the keep down here. Diablo gets a bit isolated, needs to be very careful here. Benny is fine, goes again for his lightning breath. And they zone them out with the arrow. Riptire to say... Oh, gets taken down. The keep is gone. Riptire was aiming for the Web Weaver and for those Siege Giants and was taken out before it could hit. So now even the core is going to get attacked, at least a little bit. Don't think they can go through the shield here, but still. And they move into the mid lane as well. First keep is gone, and it's at the bot lane. That's great for potential boss pressure plays at the top too. Shield is slowly falling. But I don't think they're going to stick around for too much longer here. They got level 20 any moment, though. So level 20 is going to be huge for them, of course, as well. And there it is. So it's a small gap. Maybe they can get a bit of core damage here, just to make it look good. Shield will build up in another moment, though. And here comes the play. Can they get a kill? That would be insane. And now we got the Dragon Awakens. And now we're talking cooldown reduction, and that's obviously big. So here comes the first one. Ult already being used here. They Quasar try to make another play for it, but with a high five from Lucio being pushed out all the time, they are making the moves also for the backline as they're going for Dainu. There's an opportunity. Big fight. Ancestral is out already. Still no level 20 for Team and they're losing Masquerade. Masquerade is down, and the core is slowly getting attacked here. They are losing hit points on the core. Team is in trouble. They're in real trouble. And Banana H is moving away from this. Core down to 84% of the hit points. Another Riptire from Dainu as he's looking for a kill opportunity. The Quasar is dropped. Ultralisk is down. Gems are being lost. Copenhagen still alive. And the core is wide open at this point. Another engage from Benny leads to the death of Rhaegar. And they can go for a game. Team about to lose map number 1 in the semifinal. The Hardos win a victory on Tomb of the Spider Queen. GG and well done. Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV. Map number 2, the Hardos are in the lead, they pulled it off, they took the victory in Tomb of the Spider Queen, and now we're heading into Towers of Doom. Again, the map choice of the Hardos, since Team decided in favor of first pick and first ban after they lost the first map. Yeah, they are showing some weaknesses here. Can they win the series? That's the question. Still a best of 3. And in the past, we had multiple opportunities for, or multiple scenarios where team lost the first map and then won 2 in a row afterwards. So now here's another chance to make that happen. But the Hardos are obviously smelling blood in the water. They want to move in here and take them down. Get the quick hit in. Get the 2-0 victory ideally, and then move on to the grand final to face off against Team Rage Quit and send Team packing. They would have to go to the third place decider if they lose out on this one. Brightwing gets banned. Tower is obviously always a bit of a weird map when you're going up against the Hardos, because they've now shown multiple times that they also are totally willing to play Vikings or other heroes here. So there's that. But their globals are attacked immediately, which leaves their Haka open. Could still be banned. Now if they decide that they want to get rid of their Haka too, then we would have no globals available unless a team is willing to go into something along the lines of Vikings, Stage Dive ETC, or other heroes like that. I mean, Zamuro has been played once, I think it was yesterday on this map. But here comes Lulcio. Yeah, the quick rotations between the lanes, obviously, empowered by him. It's a little bit of a budget global if you so want. You're not that quick that you can cross the map, but you're definitely speeding things up slightly. Thinking about it, Medivh might fall into a similar category. But yeah, here comes the Maiev ban. So the Haka is still up and gets picked right away. In this case, they are not going for the traditional Blaze pick that Dequaza usually gets pushed into, but instead they go for the Haka because the global value is just so worth it. Now that gives an opportunity for the Hardos to go into Blaze if they want to pick him here. Normally, if you have first pick for Team Va, you don't get that chance. But they can get away with it in this one. Yeah, it's an interesting... Sylvanas is also, of course, still up. There's Blaze and there's Stukov. Okay, so immediately, right from the get-go, we got a Blaze and a Stukov combo. And, yeah, stun into Lurking Arm. Does Dino pick a Sylvanas? That's a question that I personally have right now. He could go into Sylph. He loves that side lane clear that he has with it, and also the damage in the team fights. But we get a Tracer! Tracer Tyrael, alright. Okay, I'm absolutely on board with that. That might mean that they are banning Varian now. They might actually ban Varian here. Benny has played Varian. There was a time when Benny played for like weeks nothing else but Varian. And if you have Varian, Blaze, and Stukov, that in and of itself is already a good combo. Doesn't even matter if Tracer's on the other side. It's a great sniper setup. So, could go and ban out Varian just to be on the safe side and make sure that doesn't happen. Ana gets banned, okay. That's actually an interesting ban now too. With Tracer picked, you could think about Malfurion as a support for Team... But obviously they were a little bit more worried about whatever Ultralis is going to pick here. That is going to get boosted by Ana. And now the red team has to make a choice. Do they want to sacrifice that ban to get rid of Varian? Or do they just say like, hey, even if you don't ban him, maybe they don't pick him, and if they do, we can deal with it? They go for the ban on Diablo instead. Okay. Alright, are they going to pull it off? Is Benny going to go for it? Yes or no? What else is up? Could go into Nubrok at the front here. I like it. It's actually, this is kind of fun. They showed their cards very, very early. They were a little bit afraid that Tracer would be banned, I suppose. And we get Nick on Vala. So you already have auto attack damage. And here comes Hazu with Uther. Meaning we are looking at double support Vala with auto attack, making Tracer's life a living hell. And on top of that, you now also have Uther with a stun against Tracer. And you could always swap things, put Uther to Benny, and then get another damage dealer for Hazu, playing the Uther main tank with Blaze. Yeah, they are pretty flexible with this now. Sylvanas, as expected, and here comes Deckard Cain. Alright, moment of truth. Uther main tank, doubling as support, or do we get an actual tank on top of what they're running here, and Vala as the only damage dealer, which is absolutely viable. I mean, totally viable. She is crushing. If you can keep her alive, the auto attack speed, once you lock Manticore in, you can murder anything. And Tracer's gonna hate these auto attacks in the later stages of the game. So, which variation do they go for? They go for Varian, oh boy. Tracer is now in trouble. She needs to be very careful. Sylvanas too, so we have a lot of stuns. Varian taunt, Uther stun, Blaze with a stun, Stukov follow-up. They need to get kills. I mean, this is literally the name of the game. Come in and kill them. They have so many stuns, so much sustain. They need to make this work. Towers of Doom, team against the Hardos. The Hardos with an absolute killer draft. I mean, the entire goal of this draft is to go for kills. If you're looking at wave clear, then they have Blaze, they have Vala, I suppose. But Varian at the top, he's definitely in a different position here. So the goal that they have is clear. Control Tracer, control Sylvanas, and keep Vala alive. We have Harzops on Stukov, Nick on Vala, Bad Benny on Varian, Copenhagen on Blaze, and Rutsu on Uther. And then again, on the other side, for Team, we got Dino and his Tracer, and he is incredible on this hero. Ultralisk on Sylvanas, another big damage dealer with Wailing Arrow coming in later on. Masquerade on Teriel, Deckard Cain played by Banana, and Dequaza on Dehaka. Okay, now that we're heading into this is going to be real wild, because there's so much to see and so many tools that both of the teams have now. But especially the blue team is, of course, looking for these kills. And we already have the auto-attack talent for Vala. There was no doubt about it. The second that we had 2 supports, and then even more importantly, when in addition to that, they also got another tank, it was very clear that Vala would go for auto-attacks. So the entire goal for the team is to make it into the late game. And we've been talking about this map so much. What's the most important thing on Towers of Doom? It's your late game scaling. How well do you scale into the late game? How much momentum can you build up in the late game where control over bell towers is everything? So of course you don't want to fall behind in the mid game or in the early stages, but still you can take a couple of hits and it's not going to be a problem if at least in the late game you have the power there. And they got a lot of sustain, and it's all about keeping Nick's auto-attack speed in play. So if you go straight up for Creed of the Hunter after the rework, this is an actual talent. It makes a lot of sense, and it's fantastic when your Vala player is staying alive. You have that attack speed, and if you get the extra damage in addition to it, and then lock in your level 16, you have Manticore, and then either Acrobat on level 20 or the Farflight Quiver, you are doing real work. And what does Tracer hate? Tracer hates auto attacks. Back in the days of HTC, we even had Sergeant Hammer played against Tracer just because of all of that auto attack damage, because Tracer can't dodge it. Skill shots you can dodge out, she has the mobility. But if you have point and click, then it's a different story. But for now, it's the Tracer show. Here in the early game, we have Varian die, so he is down. But again, these are deaths that you can definitely swallow. Vala deaths, different story. You don't want to lose that auto-attack speed. You don't want to lose that momentum on her. And for now, Nick is doing well on the stacks. He's sitting at 41, has his death dealer now. But he's working the stacks in very, very nicely. Hasn't died yet, so we're going to keep an eye on him. But as I said, don't get freaked out if you have an early game kill or 2 against the Hardos. It's about the mid and the late game for them. Already some aggression here, though. We got obviously Taunt against Dino, so there's more than only Vala to this composition. There's a lot of stun that they add, and if a Taunt comes out and Stukov follows up, there's always trouble brewing for Tracer. The red team, of course, is now going to aim for some momentum. They're going to try and get as much momentum built into this game as they possibly can, and just dominate from the beginning, take the lead in experience, and just really control that show. Triple altar phase, normally a 2-for-1 trade. I don't expect anything else here, honestly. Most likely team is going to end up with 2 out of the 3. And as they're going for Uther, I guess this is going to get mirrored here, because this doesn't look like they will get Uther back in time. So 1 altar has been claimed by the Hardos. I think they're going to be happy with this. They're going to interrupt for as long as they can, and also allow for Nick to use the opportunity to get more stacks together. He's sitting at 65, which is solid. The shots have been fired, and as expected, the Hardos are now down to 32 points on their core. But the party continues, and so does the pressure play. Nick is dropping a little bit low also in mana, so he needs to be careful there. Yeah, Dino still with the hits, but 77 stacks now for Nick. And he is, of course, now locking in the hot pursuit. Level 7 talents are available to them. The flank, the taunt, and that's a kill. Well done. Ultralisk is down, and Nick, he is just going in like a machine gun. One auto attack after another. 85 stacks for him, as is already, and we're only 4 minutes into the game. That is great progress by him. But, again, you gotta keep him alive. All of these stacks don't matter at the end of the day if all of a sudden he gets just blown up twice. And once level 10 abilities are available with the Wailing Arrow on the other side, there's gonna be even more of that. It's also going to be interesting to see what exactly Tyrael is going to go for. We have seen a lot of Sanctification, I mean, duh. But we have also seen the occasional Judgment. And you could make an argument with Judgment here, they might be able to make some plays. Given the double support, though, I doubt that they're going to use it, because once that we have a Divine Shield for Rutsu, Judgment would be easily countered by it. But technically speaking, of course, Judgment plus a quick engage and maybe even a Wailing Arrow follow-up plus Tracer engage can lead to kills. And if they dominate the game, that might be a cool idea, but with the double support on the other side, there's always a question, can you really pull that off? They are playing aggressive now, though, but they might lose Tracer because of it, and there it is, the taunt and the Stukov follow-up. I highlighted it earlier, and there we see it again. It also allowed Vala to get more stacks together, so she's sitting at a double reward on the damage, having 100 stacks now, gets a little bit more every 50 stacks that she gets together. And this is looking really, really good, at least early on for the Hardos. And keep in mind, they got the lead already. They fire 4 shots, and now it's 32-32. And they have a lead in experience. They are looking for the late game, but they are already doing well here. Now, their composition is obviously not useless at this point in time. If you have a variant composition with the Stukov follow-up, that is never useless. There's always a lot that you can do and really make it dangerous for your opponent. The bunker, that was a no-brainer. Vala also with the added stun as she goes for the Rain of Vengeance, and I would still expect that Uther... Well, Uther might honestly go into a Divine Storm. I would probably wait to see what Tyrael does and then make the choice. He goes for the Divine Shield. An added stun would have been nice too, but yeah, for reasons pointed out a bit earlier, it makes more sense to go into Sanctification here. Nick is again moving away, Uther blown up, and Nick has to immediately gain a bit of distance here. As soon as they turn, he needs to get away. Oh my god! Nick just moving forward. Now that Stukov has arrived, he's like, yeah, I got my support, I'm fine. Vaults forward. Famous last moves right there. So yeah, once again, they're going for Vala. And Nick might have gone a little bit too deep. Yeah, and that's on him. I mean, honestly, that is Nick just screwing up. I'm sorry, but that was definitely... that was telegraphed. If you have only Stukov and you are this far out, I mean, this was pretty telegraphed that they would try and dive on him. So that death on him doesn't shock me in the slightest. It's exactly what the red team needs to do. So obviously they take that opportunity. So with 120 stacks already in the situation as is, Nick should have played a little bit safer. Obviously easy to say when you're just observing and you're not in the action. So hindsight is also 2020. The bottom battle tower has the bottom bell tower has nearly fallen now. But yeah, it's a little bit tricky. On the one hand, you want your assassin play in situations to play aggressive for the stacks, and at some point you want him to take it a little bit easier, so it's a bit wild. Another 4 shots are fired, so they are getting slightly ahead here. But they also steal the opponent's camp away, which is probably worth even more than that. 4 kills to 2, and still a bit of pressure down at the bottom of the map. 1 death on Vala. It's not that big of an issue just yet, as long as they keep her alive throughout the rest. But here comes Dainu and the explosion. And that's a move straight for her with the Haka dropping the isolation. But they are able to cleanse it out with the bunker. So that's already pretty neat. And on top of that, of course, there's always Uther with the Divine Shield whenever they need it. And Vala is already sitting at 32,000 damage. She's easily top damage here. Absolutely no problem. Another quick move. They're looking for another kill, and they find it. The move from Deckard Cain. It's a fantastic stay a while and listen, but it comes too late. Tracer is already dead. Tyrael is coming back in, but they're escaping from the bell tower. Benny gets caught. They might try and lock a kill in here, but it allows Vala to stack even further. And she is getting mad damage here and sits at 150 stacks now. So that's just way too much. 150 stacks, another move, stun into stun, and just barely Tyrael with the Sanctification keeps Sylvanas alive, but Dehaka, he dies. And we have another move now by Varian as he's looking for an additional taunt. Wasn't quite ready with the cooldown yet, but they control 5 bell towers now against 2, and this is just a fantastic game by the Hardos thus far. It can always fall apart, but at least for the time being, they are the ones making the moves. And the level 13 talent with Gloom keeps Vala also a bit safer. And as pointed out at the beginning of the game, her real power spike comes in with 16. If you have your auto attack speed still up, you didn't die 3-4 times, and then you get Manticore, that's the dream. So the plays are still being made over here. Again, Vala attacked, and where's the Divine Shield on cooldown? And he dies. Yeah, they're getting a little bit too split here. So that's definitely one of the things where they need to iron things out. They were way too split. Vala was attacking here, the team was attacked there. She tries to move in solo, isn't really stacked with them. So they're splitting way too much, and that gets exploited by the team. Wow. So good job by the red team, identifying these weaknesses and, yeah, using them to their best advantage. They need to get the kills on Vala, and they are doing exactly that. So with 2 kills against her, that's in total 10% of the attack speed that are now gone. So she still has the 15% advantage, but it negates a bit the stacking that has been done with the level 1 talent. Uther didn't have the Divine Shield, so that was a problem. And Nick, he needs to be careful with this. That's when you get a little bit too greedy, a little bit too comfortable, and your opponent has your number, sees an opportunity, and takes it right away. So more stacking is still coming. Level 16 is still a big thing, but you can tell how there's a huge difference in experience now in favor of the red team. I mean, take a look at this one. Especially on the heroes experience, they have taken the lead, but also the minion experience, courtesy of the Haka. Another attempt to go for Tyrael here, and that nearly worked out. But there's a talent advantage now for the red team that they are trying to use to go for another kill. And it seems like they can get Copenhagen. Copenhagen is low, and unless he gets the cooldown back up in a moment, then he's dead. Yeah, he dies. Dino makes it out. 7 kills to 5. And the Hardos, they got the lead, and then they lost it. They played a little bit too far out, too greedy. Got too comfortable in the situation that they were in, and Team Wa punished them. So right now, let's see how far they can get. It's a triple altar, and they lost a lot because of those deaths. We had still no level 16, so they have to go again for a 2-for-1 trade, and that's 10 shots fired. So yes, that is a bit of a cascade that we're witnessing here. 18 points to 20. Big lead now for Team Wa. Team Wa is now ahead in experience, they're ahead in kills, they're ahead in structures, and they're ahead in core points. And all of this coming off the back of these few kills that we just saw a few seconds ago. Vala now has a Manticore. Level 16 talents finally allow them to play on eye level with them, and it also gives us Benediction, which is of course another massive power spike. In this case for Uther. 50,000 damage still. Sank is out. Benny has to be cautious and dashes back out as we have Stukov getting dragged back into the fight, and that's the end of Hazu Ops. Hazu is gone, Wailing Arrow also being used, and Team Wa is pushing it farther and farther out. They're struggling here. Nice move also by Deckard, making sure that shots are being fired. 15 points against 20. Yeah, things have shifted. They've definitely shifted here. So, for now, it's still... I mean, you can still salvage the situation if you're the Hardos, but you need to get some kills. And the gap in experience, you need to close it. I mean, it is widening as we speak. It's now 1.5 level lead with level 18 any moment for the red team. And they're getting more and more pumpkins. You need to recover that bottom bell tower as well. Like another jump by Bad Benny. Yeah, like it's a bit of damage out. Nick thinking of Tyrael jumping back in there, which he didn't. But here comes Dino, and Nick needs to be very careful. And might die, does die, and that's death number 3. Yeah, things are definitely not looking good for them. They're falling farther and farther apart here. Every single kill against Vala is a problem. By now she lost 15% of the attack speed. Never really got to use that with her level 16 talent. And now a double altar phase where at least one of the 2 altars is going to end up in the hands of the red team. So they're going to take another 5 points off the opponent's core, which pushes them down into the single digits. So not a comfortable situation to be in. The damage dealer is gone. You have no range damage at now, and they're still trying to get the channel. So that's a staggered death against Stukov. They're getting more in the middle. Benny is dead. They're absolutely falling apart. They're getting totally crushed now. Yeah, this is just completely getting out of their hand. There's a double bell tower. I mean, honestly, if they take this bell tower too, then they can literally end the game at this point. They can go for double altar, and then they can go for the boss, and that would finish the game. For that, they didn't even have to go for this, but there's the shots. All of them fired in. Boom, we're down to 9 points on the core. They make a play for boss, and then it's the only altar here on the side that has to be taken. Kudos to Team WoW. Given how well Vala stacked at the beginning, this looked really grim. But they made it happen, they held on to it, and now they are about to win this game. 4 shots are fired, that puts the core down to 5, and all they gotta do is channel the altar, and that's exactly where they got Canis already. That's a win for Team the Hardos, losing it on Towers of Doom. GG, well done, great job by the team in red. Dragon Shire, the final map. We got a 3-mapper. Okay, so our semi-final continues. It's still a little bit sad. Like, I personally love it, you know, when one of these Walla gambles really plays out and someone is able to get pretty big stacks together. And Nick just split from the team a few times and they exploited that and took him down. So good for Team Wa to really identifying that and being able to turn it around. But that also leads us to Dragon Shire, which is pretty cool. Always nice to have a third map between these two teams. And let's see who takes it. We got the Hogger ban for the top lane. Top lane, obviously, where Rexa is also going to play a big role potentially. Quick ban on Lucio. Yeah, I'm definitely hyped for this one. Globals, Falstad, Dehaka. Once again, playing a big role here. Same goes for Brightwing. But let's have a quick look at the first pick. Is this another Blaze pick? And my F also annihilated, so that means right away that we are having a bit of a ban against Ultralisk. But here comes Dehaka. So even on this map, Blaze not taken, Dehaka over Blaze, and also Rexa still up. And Rexa is of course a hero that Hazu in particular played a lot, so they don't even have to necessarily go for Copenhagen on the side lane. They could go into one of these triple melee combos and change things up a little bit if they really wanted to. It's nice to have the options at least. But here comes Sylvanas, and there is Rhaegar. There's always this faint hope that you're gonna see the Vikings again at some point. Sylvanas also would help, of course, with a draft like that, but to be absolutely honest with you, I think the chances of them really coming in here and picking Vikings in the third map against Team Wa are pretty slim. But it's cool that occasionally at least happens again these days, so that's kind of fun. Now, as it stands, do we get an early Dino pick again? No, we don't. We get Muradin and we get Karazim. Reminds me, honestly, a bit of the combo that was played by Team Wa in the Deciders match, tiebreaker in Group 2 between them and the MC Academy. And for the life of it, I can't remember what else they picked. I really don't remember. Genji! They had Genji. Ultralisk was playing Genji. Yeah, that's the thing, but I don't know what Dino picked. I think it was actually Junkrat, and he just got banned. So maybe that's something that the Hardos also paid attention to, not just now saying, alright, you guys might still get something here, but we're definitely denying you the same composition. Yeah, pretty sure it was Junkrat. Muradin with a Stormbolt lead up, and then Junkrat with a follow-up. But yeah, definitely Genji here. So let's see how they're going to play this one out. This is one that's going to be interesting. How they're substituting this. I mean, either way. Bad Benny, we're missing the front line. Ah, Jojo. Jojo for the front line, and we got Urel for the side lane. So already super beefy, super tanky here. Okay. And what are we getting for Dino now? Dino and Ultralisk. Again, Ultralisk, he played Genji last time. Dino could just sub out into any other damage dealer that he is comfortable with here. So that would still be a very good combo. You have a lot of mobility, a lot of dive, Muradin, Karazim, Dehaka from the side, Genji moving in. There's Genji. And Zagara! He goes for Zagara again in game 3! Not too shabby. Let's see if that works out. Yeah, we had Zagara plays a couple of times on Braxis by him. But not so much on this map. Dino pretty much the only Zagara player right now in the competitive scene that has success with it, but against the Hardos, that's definitely quite the statement. So let's see if Nick can go for a hero that can exploit that a little bit. Zagara is lacking hit points, and she oftentimes has problems with escape. But here comes Kerrigan, so off we go. Dragon Shire, everybody! Map number 3, final map in the semi-final. Which of the two teams moves on to the grand final of the first qualifier? We'll figure it out right now. The final map between the Hardos and Team on the left side, it's Hazops with Sylvanas, Copenhagen on Urel, Bad Benny with Johanna, Rutsu on Rega, and Nick. Can Nick carry again with Kerrigan? We're gonna find out. We're going full Queen of Blades here, full Zerg Queen, Zagara for Dino with Dequaza on Dehaka. Currently got Banana H on Karazim, Ultralisk on Genji, and Masquerade is playing a Muradin. Okay, it's Zagara time. Yep, we got the Corpse Feeders on level 1. And already a bit of action here in the middle of the map. But yeah, I like it. Having a Zagara every now and then, and then just having these like these niche picks coming through on certain maps in compositions like this one, super fun to watch and to observe, even if it doesn't necessarily always play out. It's kind of cool. So we're not playing out that combo, but also not quite play out for Nick here. Tried to threaten Muradin a little bit and didn't quite work for him. But yep. So we have, same time, another attack against Dequaza as he's trying to move towards the top. Now, the one thing that you obviously have to take care of a bit is that you take down these creep tumors. If Zagara is able to just cover the entire map in creep, then you are in real trouble, because that's nothing but a legal map hack. I mean, it literally is. It's one of the worst things that you can do when you're playing Heroes of the Storm against the Zagara, not taking care of creep. Doesn't mean that you always have to go insanely out of your way and just like run from one point on the map to another. That's overdoing it slightly, but at least make sure that you are, when there's a chance, getting rid of those tumors to limit vision a little bit. So we have, talking about vision, already Copenhagen checking the top out, but there's a little bit too much for him to handle, so he can't really attack this, and now Dehaka is also moving in. So, yeah, they go for the camp. Same is happening down here, though. Masquerade is every now and then poking his head out and saying, like, hello, sir. But he won't be able to hold this. But Dehaka and Muradin, that's a different question. The two of them can maybe delay it long enough for the rest of the team to move in, and that's what they're trying. Masquerade is low, but he gets out. They're still fighting for it. Essence popped, and the kill! Rega down, Sylvanas is down too. They try for another kill, but they can't get it. And it seems like they're gonna lock in the camp too. Double kill, maybe even a triple. There it is. And they get the camp. What a fantastic lead for the red team. Check that fight out again. So right there, Masquerade jumped out first, and then they focused back on the battle. And with that Dragon Rega, he was totally stunned out. Couldn't do anything, couldn't move. He dies, so does Sylvanas. And as a result, they take the camp. They have 3 kills to 0. It's an entire level lead. And with all that power, they're pushing through the bot lane. They take down the wall and the gate, and even at the top they've been able to do some damage. And now Genji is moving in for the first Dragon Knight. I mean, boy, that is quite the opening by Team... Wow. Yeah. That's rough. That's really rough. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. That's brutal. That's absolutely brutal. And on top of that, you also still have the wave clear. Urutsu is in trouble too. He might get out, but look at Nick. Already taking the damage from the envenomed spines. They're still pushing this. Creep tumors everywhere, and holy hell. The Dragon Knight obviously still in play, so the walls have been destroyed on most of the lanes now. Big leading experience. Now Kerrigan is dead. Zagara coming in and saying like, hey, I'm the only Zerg Queen, bitch. Get out of my game. So yeah, Zagara apparently the real queen. And Kerrigan, well, she is dead once again. Dino even running out of mana and having to hearth back because of that. Now in the mid lane, the fort is even down to 50% HP as Ultralisk was just murdering it with the Dragon Knight. Top side, Dequaza has already taken the tower down. And now they have level 7 talents. They're literally a level ahead. Literally a level ahead already. So, yeah, that is pretty sexy for fans of the red team. game's not over. Once that they have level 10, the dynamic might change again, but at least for now, it's a matter of how much can the red team capitalize on the lead that they have. And they are literally invading the left side of the map to take siege giants away, push them even further. They have now Zagara back to business, went, by the way, into the bile drop on level 7. There's still a lot of creeps spread on the map that gives them additional vision. And they're holding on to that 1 level lead quite successfully. Going for a fort in the middle of the map now. So already poking this down. Zagara dropping everything she has here. Talking about dropping damage on Rutsu. He nearly, well, he didn't nearly die, but he was in trouble for a moment because of the tongue from Dequazas de Haka. They even let the fort stand. I was the entire time waiting for Zagara to move in again for an attack or two. That hasn't happened right away. But they, of course, have it so low that anyone can take it down. It's Muradin. Nice! Well done, my bad Benny. Eats the Stormbolt. Masquerade sits there and says, like, I want this thing. Yeah, and he's gonna get it. So they're taking it down. Benny jumps out, no problem. They're even pushing the bot lane at the same time to distract him even further. And of course, level 10 is the next big one, and the Shrine's activating in 18. Yeah, that's also a big one. But yeah, either way, so they're taking a couple of the creep tumors out, and they're trying to. The siege giants are still on the map. We already have Muradin anchoring this on the side, and they're just waiting for anybody to rotate back in here. Stormbolt could hit, then we have the attack, and Nick is nearly gone. But he gets the stun out, so he doesn't panic. He turns it around, or at least tries to, but he has level 10, and that's the problem. Now with heroic abilities, the only play is to get the fuck out of the way as Team goes for the tower, for the bell, not bell tower, for the fort. So at least Copenhagen is getting some value at the top. He destroys the wall and gets some experience for them. But we now have more. We got the 7-sided strike. They're moving topside. 2 forts are destroyed. And they could now try to also get another Dragonite. So that's the next one. But yeah. Bottom of the map. Another camp about to be taken. They claim it before level 10 is there. Creep tumors everywhere. Also the early warning signals if anybody would move down. Unless they're jumping in from the... well, is that a kill? Hello? And yes it is. Well done. Wailing Arrow and Kerrigan combo was a little bit too much for them to handle. The Maw against Benny, yeah, that one connected, but it didn't save Muradin. So Muradin is down, and that's finally a kill on the board for the Hardos. Also comes at a good moment in time, because there was a threat of an additional Dragonite being claimed by the red team, but not so much now. They are going for another kill attempt though, aren't they? At least they were sneaking in. And yes, 7-sided strike. Copenhagen has to ult up. They baited out the ult. Does he have the fountain? There's the drag. Hazu comes in, and they're still saving Urel. Same time, they have to guard the mid lane because both of the shrines are under the control of Team... So they're doing a decent job here. They've caught up in experience a bit, by the way. They're still behind, but they closed the gap slightly. And they are also trailing a bit behind on the creep tumor control, as you can see here. So that's a bit annoying as well. You need to take these down eventually. But for the time being, it's another attack against Bad Benny. They thought he was alone, but there comes the cavalry, and it helps them with another kill. Beautiful combo by Nick. The team followed up, and they are able to get that Genji kill. Some momentum finally. The experience gap has been closed, and the Hardos are, all of a sudden, gaining a bit of momentum here. This might help them. They still hold Sylvanas in their lineup, which of course means that every single kill that they get and every bit of momentum that they can build up leads to more damage on structure, since she can empower these pushes, which is exactly what she does here. They obliterate the wall in half a second and can now rotate into the middle, trying to either take a camp or maybe even get a bit more done here. Muradin, Wailing Arrow, and he gets the Avatar through. Holy shit, that was clutch. That was insanely close. Hazu, the Ancestral. They drop it on him, but Kerrigan is dead. There's the Maw on Jojo. Rutsu is also down. A beautiful chase, and it leads to Benny dying too. Masquerade nearly fell, and now they have 3 kills. Oh boy. Team shutting that down quickly. That was such a great opportunity for the Hardos to gain momentum in the game and maybe even pulling ahead here. If Masquerade would have fallen, if they timed just the stuns a bit more perfect and didn't give him that last second opportunity to go for the ult, then this could have been a big push in the mid lane, but instead they lose 3. If I take another quick look at it, so there's the chase. Kerrigan already dead at this point. They go for the maw that isolates Johanna. They kill Rhaegar with the 7-sided strike here. And then Jojo dies too. So triple kill for the red team. More control with a bigger lead in experience than they even previously had. 7 kills to 2 in total. But I love that both of the teams are just so close that they're able to go for these moves. And there is a chance that the Hardos are making their way back into the game again. But yeah, very, very cool moves here from both. And that could be a problem for Yrel. That's a big cooldown she just burned. And Copenhagen dies, isn't he? Maybe not? Nah, Dequaza, you beast! The French tongue is coming out and gets the kill. Yrel is dead. Goodbye, Space Goat. And now they should get another Dragon Knight. And now that they have a 5 versus 4 going on the map and control most of the lanes, this should be a play for DK. Number 2. 21,000 damage for Zagara, 22,000 for Sylvanas. They get the camp, and they also are closing in on level 16. Ooh boy, that is actually a little bit more nasty than I expected it to be. Because now they have literally camps on pretty much every single lane. Dragon Knight didn't get interrupted, so now they're going for 16. They got the objective, and they got that. And if they now lose a few of the heroes here, that would be just such a disaster. Nick is saved! Yes, he is! That Chrysalis at the end barely saved his bony ass. But now the push is still going strong. With level 16 Talons and Zagara plus the Dragon Knight pushing, they're going for the bot lane. They got Siege Giants here as well. They want that keep, and they're coming for it. The tongue, the elongated tongue is there. We got the final cut. And this is looking bad. This keep is likely a goner. Another ass kicking for Rhaegar. As we got the Dragon Knight coming in with a big kick. And yep, that's keep. Keep's gone. Got a bow out here. They won't be able to stay. Let's not forget that the Hardos so far haven't taken a single fort down. They claw their way back into the game time and time again and get their kills. But they just are not able to translate that into structural damage outside of destroying a tower or two. And they need to do that. They need to close the experience gap before level 20 kicks in for Team. They need to play around the next objective a little bit more. And with level 16, they have to make some big plays now. It's half a level until they hit the next Talon, but after that, they need to make some moves. So, there it is. We got, yeah, level 16 any moment now. And they're already taking position. I mean, they know they have to play aggressive. They gotta play aggressive. They're looking for it. They're looking for a trap. That's their potential Admiral Akbar moment. That Stormbolts are there. They know exactly what's going on. Red team is not falling for it. Ah, nice move. Dequaza dodges out on the stun, but that was not too shabby by Nick. Bot lane, of course, is going to go for core. Shouldn't really do too much work. We're 12 minutes in. But they're now invading also the camps, and 16 is still not available for the Hardos. It's a small window, but it's there, and they use it. Level 16. With that, we now got the Holy Renewal. We got the Will of the Forsaken. Immediate move top side for another fort, as Team Ma is definitely not kidding around here. Full on build into the totem for Rhaegar. Muradin, Masquerade just YOLOs out the Stormbolt. They're still dealing with as much of these creep tumors as they possibly can. Another one taken out. Gets one over here. There's still a bit of vision. Rhaegar obviously helps a lot with the lightning shield. So they're eliminating as much of the vision as is possible for them. But here's the next move. They go for Masquerade. This time they didn't go for the combo yet, but they go for it now, and they take her down. Zagara is dead. The Maw still connected. Isolation misses. Dequaza misses the isolation. They want to go for more kills. They're trying for Karazim. They can't quite get him, but it's the Haka who's in trouble, and they're pushing this further. They know that they need to make some moves. They need to go for the kills, and they get them. The Haka is down, so is Karazim. Ancestral saves Nick again, and now they need to carry this. They need to go for the objective. They need to take some structures down. They're closing the gap slowly, but they have to really hit this one hard. That's the momentum that they've been waiting for the entire time. It was denied to them multiple times by the red team, but here's the chance to go for a keep in the middle of the map and then maybe even fall back and go for the Dragon Knight. They move in for it. Zagara back in 6 seconds. Masquerade can't do shit here. Neither can Genji. They have to wait for reinforcements, and they do, but this keep is gonzo. keep down. And there it is, the big opportunity for the Hardos to maybe win this series after all. We have Genji moving down to the bottom of the map, trying to take control of at least one of these shrines. And here comes the momentum. They go for another one of those camps, claim that as well, move down to the bot lane in an attempt to do even more structural damage. They gave up on the Dragonite. They don't get it for free. But then again, at the end of the day, what are you doing with the Dragonite? The only thing you could have theoretically gotten here is the keep. And they already took that. So that's already a win. They got to deal with those catapults here and take them down. Might even suffer a little bit of damage. Nah. But they still got to deal with the Dragonite. And they closed the gap a bit, but let's not forget there is still an experience advantage for Team 1. They will have the early level 20. Unless they lose a team fight before Storm Talons, the early level 20 for them is a given. And that can very quickly grant you an objective. So it's still a dicey spot for the Hardos to be in, but at least they opened up an opportunity. Here's the Dragonite though, they let it happen. They don't go for it, and I'm not sure if that wasn't a mistake. Maybe they should have forced it. They were lacking a few cooldowns, but now the problem is that they're likely up against the Dragonite and level 20 on the other side. So they might lose the game here. That is a bit dicey. They might have had to attack here in the middle. There's level 20, so now it's a bit of a worst case scenario. DK plus level 20, and actually Muradin goes for the Hardened Shield here. Transgression as usual. Muradin attack, no Wailing Arrow. They didn't pull all their cards here. Dragonite gets attacked, they're getting some damage in, they need to keep it low. And they're actually burning it out very, very quickly here. Very quickly. Well done. They're going to take damage on the core. That's a given, but they burn it down super fast. As long as they can stay alive here, they're going to be fine. And look at Genji. The Wailing Arrow and the Haka is down. Oh my god. The Hardos. Not too bad. They lose 16% on the core, but I call worth. Totally worth it. Look at them chasing. Great totem by Rhaegar. Stop him there. And that's the problem with Zagara. She's too squishy. She's just too squishy. If you get a hold of her, she's down. And guys, they all of a sudden open the mid lane up. They can go for core here. They killed 3. They killed 3 and now they have level 20. And they're going to try and end this. There's 3 catapults coming through with them too. So this is going to be a defense between Muradin and with Genji. And that is rough. That is rough, especially since catapults are also moving in. Hazu! They still have the Ancestral, and they drop it. They go for the Dwarf. 16 seconds for the Haka. They know they gotta go for the core, and that's exactly what they're doing. 3 catapults on the left side that are slowly starting to move in. Muradin is a little bit low, but he gets the Avatar. He's trying to go in for a kill on Hazu. The core is already falling down to 60%. Genji is low, gets the shield, is in trouble. 40% on the core. Catapult still stuck between the minion wave. A couple of the heroes already coming back, but this needs to be it. Genji down, and that is game. The Hardos move on to the grand final, and Team Wa drops into the 3rd place decider.